What is true wealth? Is it the accumulation of material possessions, or is it something more profound? Let's take a journey to an ancient town where the teachings of Buddha echoed through the narrow, bustling streets. Amid the chorus of everyday life, there was a beggar who had discovered a wealth that transcended the bounds of material possessions. Cloaked in a tattered robe, armed with nothing but a humble begging bowl, this beggar was not renowned for what he lacked, but for the abundance of compassion that emanated from his heart. His daily routine was a testament to resilience and humility. He would traverse through the town, knocking on doors and seeking alms. His every interaction was a spectacle of radiant joy and gratitude, regardless of the meager offerings placed in his begging bowl. Whether it was a handful of grains or a small coin, it was received with a smile that never wavered. His demeanor was not typical of a person living in destitution, but rather of someone who possessed a wealth of spirit, a richness of heart. His joy was infectious, his gratitude palpable. His reputation as an extraordinary beggar spread far and wide, and soon, his story reached the ears of the Buddha. Intrigued by the tales of this beggar's exceptional character, Buddha, the enlightened one, couldn't help but feel a pull towards this extraordinary individual. The tales painted a picture of a man who had found contentment and joy in a life that many would consider devoid of comfort or luxury. The beggar's joy was not rooted in the material possessions he lacked, but in the spirit of generosity and compassion that he embodied. And so the Buddha, intrigued by the beggar's reputation, decided to seek him out. The prospect of meeting this extraordinary individual, a beggar whose wealth resided not in his pocket but in his heart, stirred a sense of anticipation. What lessons could be learned from a man whose happiness was not bound by material wealth? What wisdom could be gleaned from a life of simplicity and selflessness? Intrigued by the beggar's reputation, the Buddha decided to seek him out. In a bustling market square, the Buddha finds the beggar, his humble presence in stark contrast to the commercial hustle around him. The noise of haggling merchants and the chatter of townsfolk fade into a murmur as the Buddha approaches the beggar. Their eyes meet, and there's a moment of understanding, a silent acknowledgement of shared wisdom. With a gentle nod, the Buddha breaks the silence, his voice serene amid the market's cacophony. "Your generosity, despite your own need, is truly commendable," he says. The beggar, his features weathered yet serene, responds with a nod, his eyes reflecting gratitude. The Buddha continues, "What is the source of your joy, despite your life's hardships?" The beggar's response is simple yet profound. His voice, though soft, carries the weight of wisdom gained through years of hardship. "Great teacher, I have learned the true meaning of wealth. It is not in the accumulation of material possessions, but in the generosity of the heart," the beggar responds. In the wisdom of the beggar's words, the Buddha sees a valuable teaching moment. The Buddha, taking a moment to let the beggar's profound words sink in, turns to the gathering crowd. His voice, steady and serene, rings out, "Friends, observe this beggar and learn from his example. He possesses no wealth in the conventional sense, yet his heart is rich with generosity and contentment." The Buddha's words hang in the air, a stark contrast to the bustling market square. "True wealth," he continues, "is not measured by the abundance of possessions, but by the abundance of compassion within." The crowd listens in rapt attention, each word seeping into their consciousness, challenging their preconceived notions about wealth and happiness. Expanding on this idea, the Buddha elucidates the transformative power of generosity. The act of giving, driven by a selfless heart, is a path to liberation, he says. It frees us from the attachments that bind us to suffering and opens our hearts to the profound joy of selflessness. The audience, absorbing the teachings, begins to view the beggar in a new light, his poverty no longer a sign of destitution, but a testament to his spiritual wealth. The generous beggar, the Buddha continues, has discovered the secret that material wealth cannot bring lasting happiness. It is the open heart, the willingness to share and alleviate the suffering of others, that leads to true contentment. The Buddha's words resonate deeply with the audience, inviting them to reflect on their own attitudes towards wealth and generosity. As the Buddha concluded his discourse, the beggar bowed in gratitude, his story becoming a beacon of inspiration for the townsfolk. His humble presence continues to serve as a reminder of the Buddha's teachings, his radiant joy a testament to the transformative power of generosity and compassion. In the end, the beggar's wealth is not measured in coins or grains, but in the boundless compassion that emanates from his heart, a testament to the true teachings of the Buddha.